Part 20. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 193. After Marine 3 admirals solved all the meteorites, nearly 1,000 marine warships surrounded the entire island with Sabaody archipelago as the center. The densely packed warships began to march towards Sabaody archipelago. All the residents were frightened. Shivering. Marine is coming, fire. When the pirates saw so many marine warships, not only did they not have the slightest fear, but they all started to get excited. The pirates who dared to break into the Grand Line were all desperados who put their own lives at risk. There are no weaklings in the Sabaody archipelago. Boom. 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 The pirates' cannons began to roar. Their pirate ships were all specially made, and some of them had super long-range cannons. Moreover, they also occupied the entire Sabaody archipelago defense fortifications, and the dark barrels of the huge cannons were constantly spitting fire. But if you really attack celestial dragons regardless of their life or death, it will leave a mark. Kizaru, you can lead the pacifists to land from the side, Akainu said to Kizaru. Escape, avoid. Every one of the marines, stop the bombardment immediately. If you don't stop, I will kill this noble celestial dragons. If the celestial dragons are killed by the marine bombardment, you will also be very troubled. The pirates were overwhelmed by the marines' cannons, and they abandoned the pirate ships one after another and retreated to the island. Marines began to approach the port, and countless marines began to land. Looking from a distance, on the blue sea, bright red sparks bloom from time to time among marines' warships. In front of marines' warships, there are 15 marine vice admiral who are constantly intercepting in the air on the moonwalk, catching shells. When the other PA saw their leader fall, they were about to escape, but an invisible ice froze them all to the ground. Akainu, no matter what method you use, you must ensure the safety of Lord Celestial Dragons. The leader of the CPO was still chattering in Akainu's ear. Let's go to the shelter quickly. That's the palace of Rosewater and Shalelia. I won't admit it, the masked man continued. No, those are the real celestial dragons. They can't fire cannons. No matter what the pirates ask for, they will agree to it. Nothing can happen to the celestial dragons. As soon as Akainu finished speaking, a man wearing a white suit and a white mask interrupted. All the pirates looked at the scene in horror. This was the first time they saw this scene. The cannonballs covered the sky and blocked the sun's brilliance. After that, flowers bloomed continuously on the entire Sabaody archipelago. A flower made entirely of gunfire. Levi took a rough look and found that he knew people like Ghost Spider, Weasel, Bastille, Strawberry, and several tall giants called Vice Admiral. There is no need to negotiate. I will not negotiate terms with pirates. These pirates must all be eliminated. They are all evil on the sea, Akainu said decisively. Now I am the commander-in-chief of this operation. Please don't point fingers in front of me. Akainu's expression darkened. He had no good impression of these CPO guys. You are so decisive, Chishu. But how are you going to pass the 10 levels of 5 elders next? Dong Yuan asked leisurely. There are a lot of acquaintances. Okay, then I'll go out and finish the work as soon as possible. Kizaru stretched and stood up. In his feeling, the pirates in Sabaody archipelago were not good enough, and he didn't know Sengoku why send all 3 admirals here. In this case, I can only report this matter to the 5 elders and Master Yumua. The CPO sneered and took out the phone bug from his arms. Golden flashes of light flew towards these ice sculptures like raindrops. After the flash, all traces of the CPU disappeared. Although the pirates' artillery fire looked fierce, their artillery fire was nothing compared to Marines. When Marine reached the range of their cannons, with a salvo of Marine cannons, the entire Sabaody archipelago, the sky suddenly darkened. Afterwards, the Marines' cannon flew towards the Sabaody archipelago again. All the pirates were knocked upside down by the explosion. Except for the direction of Capone Beeg, the pressure on the pirates in other directions suddenly increased. Retreat, retreat to the island. Those are fake celestial dragons. They are pirates' plan to delay us. Keep firing, Akainu's voice deepened. The masked man looked down at his body. A big handful of lava had penetrated his body, and he fell down without saying a word. The CPO has lurked in the Sabayati archipelago. They were all killed by Pirates 763. What does it have to do with me, Akainu? Akainu said seriously. But I'm not Marine, you have no right to command me. What's more, the main mission this time is to rescue the living celestial dragons first, and then execute the buster call. Don't change the order, Akainu. That masked the man looked at Akainu mockingly. He didn't take Shi Inu seriously at all. Although Akainu is not afraid of the five elders, Sengoku is uncomfortable, and Akainu doesn't want to cause such trouble. In addition to Marine Marshal Sengoku, Marine Vice Admiral Garp and Tsuru, almost all other Marine senior executives have left the current Marine Corps. In the office, Aokiji is sleeping with an eye mask on, while Kizaru is still sipping tea leisurely. I'm afraid you won't have this chance, Akainu's tone was full of murderous intent. This is inconsistent with your character, Akainu, Kizaru laughed. Akainu said nothing after that, and then he walked towards the office. Behind him, more than a dozen CPO members in white followed Akainu. The pirates organized the residents of the island to move towards the shelter left on the island at that time. Levi looked at this war scene and felt a sense of irony. The originally just Marine now wanted to massacre the civilians they had always protected. Pirates, who had always been regarded as a cancer, now began to play the role of protectors. Even Aokiji took off his blindfold. This was the first time he saw Akainu with such a cunning side. He always thought Akainu was a very upright soldier. Capone Beeg stood on his boat and shouted loudly to Marine. As he shouted, the cannonballs that were originally covering the sky stopped, and all Marines' eyes turned to Akainu, who was responsible for this operation. Commander. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 194. Countless Marines shouted and launched an attack on the Sabayati archipelago. This marked the official completion of the entire Sabayati archipelago's coastal defense line, and the pirates began to enter the island's defense battle. Although the number of pirates is smaller than that of Marine, they are all elites fighting from the 7 routes of the Grand Line. Their combat power is higher than that of Marine. Although Marine has more people, they cannot break through the pirates' defense. The entire battle presenting a stalemate. Rubber rubber. Luffy kept shouting, and every Marine was knocked away by him. Boom. A huge figure fell from the sky. Luffy just looked carefully and saw a huge figure standing there. This is the Tyrant Bear, one of the Shishibukai. Nami and others' pupils shrank tightly together. They had fought with the bear, and the bear's oppressive strength gave them a great shock, although their bodies were badly injured, but they knew that even in their prime, they couldn't do much harm to the bear. Why is it this guy? Luffy also shouted. Although he usually didn't know people, he was still very impressed by this guy. With just a wave of his hand, they flew away. Jean Doan shouted at these big guys. He didn't expect Lugo's ability to restrain the pacifists so much. I'm afraid if the fight continues, all the pacifists will be destroyed by Lugo. I am Jean Doan, the most tight-lipped man in the world. Jean Doan touched his nose and said confidently. When Lugo took action, Bebo also attacked Marine. He rushed into Marine like a white afterimage, and Marines were constantly knocked away by him. While Jean Doan was stunned, Lugo had already destroyed the second pacifist. Only then did Jean Doan react. He jerked, then he jumped up high, and then pointed his axe at Lugo slashed hard. Diddy, found the pirates, prepare to take action. Look at me making you kill each other. The Marines gnashed their teeth at Popo. Bopo's physical fitness was already extremely strong. When he was in Visalia, he also learned the 8 punches taught to him by the West Blue instructor. With his huge size advantage, he was really invincible. Boom! All the pirates shouted loudly. Kid controlled nearly 10 pacifists. These pacifists continued to shoot laser light waves at Marine. These light waves caused horrific casualties to Marine. Marine had no choice but to do so. After retreating, the side Kid was defending took the lead in repelling Marines attacking Fox. How is this possible? The Sabayati archipelago is a stone's throw away from Marine's headquarters, Marineford, and Mariejois, the residence of the Celestial Dragons. It won't be surprising to anyone who comes here, Levi laughed. Captain is mighty. Idiot, this is the pacifist studied by Dr. Vegapunk. How ignorant, a fat man with an axe smiled at Lugo and others. Why are there so many bears? Yuxiao frowned. Although he couldn't see it, his observation haki had already enveloped the entire island. Under his observation haki, everything on the island was indifferent to him. Escape. Compared to Lugo, Kid's ability is more damaging to pacifists. Under his magnetic fruit, pacifists are like a younger brother under his hands. Who are you? Bibo asked doubtfully. Okay, so strong. Bibo and others looked at the deep pit, and he couldn't help but feel palpitations in his heart. The attacks from these guys are really terrifying. These are the pacifists studied by Dr. Vegapunk. They appeared to deal with big pirates with a bounty of over 100 million. The cost of these guys is not cheap. Any one of them can be worth the cost of a warship, Levi said to Yuxiao. Jean Momomaru is the captain of the scientific team of the headquarters. He cherishes the scientific research results of Vegapunk very much. He felt extremely heartbroken when 2 pacifists were injured. At the same time, the faces of Kid, Lugo, and others who were fighting Marine changed drastically, and bears appeared in front of them. Jean Daumaru's eyes became dull. The materials used by these pacifists were extremely strong. Even the slashes of ordinary swordsmen could not harm them. However, Lugo just swung his sword and killed the pacifists. Broken. Bibo and others were greatly refreshed, and they all shouted. They were originally shocked by the power of this pacifist, but Lugo's behavior told them that these pacifists have nothing to fear. Pacifists, all retreat. The axe and Lugo's ghost cry collided heavily, and as Jean Momomaru dragged the axe, a spark burst out from their weapons. Room. The eyes of all the pacifists lit up, and a crosshair appeared in their eyes, and all the pirates with a bounty of over 100 million were targeted by them. A transparent space enveloped the entire pacifist, and then Lugo's figure suddenly appeared in front of a pacifist. With Lugo's ghost cry, the pacifist was cut into pieces by him. 2 halves. Captain is mighty. After that, all the bears opened their mouths wide, and the sun's dazzling golden light wave swept towards the pirates. Amid Kid's ferocious laughter, a pacifist suddenly turned his head, and his eyes began to emit golden laser light. This golden light shot towards Marines' troops. After a violent explosion, all Marines got blown away. That's it? Dr. Vegapunk is indeed a scientist who is 500 years ahead of mankind. Yuxiao let out a sigh of relief and said, why does the bear, one of the Shishibukai, appear on this island now? As Kid walked by, sparks continued to erupt from each pacifist's body. The moment Kid's hand, Nyakian Hao, was close to the pacifist, he used his ability to pull the pacifist's hand. The interior is destroyed. Although the pacifist's appearance is extremely hard, his interior is filled with extremely precise components, which will be destroyed instantly under Kid's ability. These golden light beams are extremely powerful. When the light beams shot into the pirate camp, the pirates were immediately blown away. The pirates' armament haki was unable to defend themselves. How come Shishibukai also appeared on this island, and there are so many bears? Lugo frowned. In front of him, there was a long row of bears. Damn it, this bear is so nimble. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 195. A golden light flashed, and Kizaru's figure appeared on the Sabayati archipelago. Countless pirates had fallen beside him, and these pirates were completely insignificant compared to Kizaru. Kizaru, this is Marine Admiral Kizaru, everyone, run away. When the surviving pirates saw Kizaru, they all ran away in fear, and the entire port suddenly became empty. If Laozi can kill Marine Admiral now, then Laozi will soon become famous all over the world. There is no shortage of careerists among pirates. When all the pirates are running away, there is a one-eyed pirate who is quietly pointed the gun at Kizaru. Boom! When Kizaru tilted his head, a glint flashed in the eyes of the aiming pirate. He pulled the trigger in his hand without hesitation. After a gunshot, the projectile fired from his gun passed through Kizaru's head. Hit, Laozi will soon be famous all over the world. The one-eyed pirate who fired the gun jumped up happily when he saw Kizaru was shot. Did you fire the gun? You are so brave. Kizaru turned his head and smiled at him. There was no wound on Kizaru's head, as if everything just now was his imagination. Impossible, I saw the bullet pass through your head with my own eyes. The pirate looked at Kizaru, who was unharmed, with surprise on his 940 face. Looking at Kizaru, who was smiling at him, he felt a little creepy. The pirate yelled, and then he dropped his gun and ran back. It worked, we seem to have killed him. Chopper cheered. Drake roared again, and then he rushed towards the pacifist again. After Drake transformed, his strength became extremely terrifying, and his speed was also extremely fast. Brother, have you ever been kicked by light? Kizaru's figure appeared strangely in front of the pirate. Before the pirate could react, he was kicked into the house by Kizaru, and the house was immediately destroyed. Smashed and trampled. It's so hard, it feels like fine iron. Luffy kept blowing on his fist, and now Luffy's fist felt bursts of stinging pain. Drake stepped on the moonwalk and kept approaching the pacifist, and then he used his tail to whip the pacifist away. The three of them launched their ultimate moves at the same time and attacked the bear in front of them. The bear's body was finally hit by them. The bear's body staggered back and then his body knocked down the building behind it. Luffy and others were confused. The bear's move was a shock wave. When did it turn into a light wave? And his strength is much weaker than the terrifying main ship. Luffy and others had already experienced the power of the bear on the terrifying three-mast ship. At that time, everyone in the Rolling Pirates was beaten by the bear and lost their combat effectiveness. Drake drew out his four-edged axe and rushed towards the pacifists. His axe swung out with cold light, and the axe kept slashing at the pacifists who fell to the ground. Under his axe, the pacifists continued to be hit. Sparks flew and he chopped the pacifist into pieces. Bear, punch me. This doesn't seem to be a bear, it's a robot. Sanji frowned. Devil's feet. Now the entire Sabayati archipelago is in chaos. There are pirates and marines fighting everywhere. Where Kizaru passed by, all the pirates fell. Now that Marine and Admiral have landed on the island, let's prepare to take action. I didn't expect you guys to have really developed this terrifying weapon. Your Kizaru Admiral's laser attack, coupled with the Shishibukai bear's terrifying defense, is really an impeccable combination. Drake did not answer Kizaru's words, he just said to exclaim the pacifist in the distance. I never thought I could see the devil fruit planted by Zoan in ancient times. Here a smile filled with wonder, his observation Haki sensed Drake's transformation. This was the first time he saw this kind of devil fruit. Luffy punched the bear with all his strength, and the bear didn't take a step back. Luffy's fist felt like it hit a piece of fine iron. In the blink of an eye, the body was flashing with sparks, One of his eyes was broken, some lines on his body were exposed, and there were even traces of sparks flickering on it. Then a wave of light blew up all the buildings, and a wave of light came out of the bear's mouth and headed towards them, but was dodged by the people who were on guard, and then Luffy and others swarmed up. Roar! Nami said, yes, the bear is Paramecia's meatball fruit ability user. His meatball fruit is very powerful. These robots just have the appearance of bears, and their strength is nothing compared to the bears. Seeing that Luffy was suffocating, Zoro and Sanji also stood with Luffy. They were ready to attack the bear together. Golden light waves exploded on the ground, and strong winds blew their clothes. Before the shock wave dissipated, Luffy's whole body had turned red, and he turned to second gear without hesitation. When he got up from the ground, blood was already flowing from his mouth. Just now, a light wave was shot from the pacifist's mouth, and his mouth was injured. Feck, when he first met a bear, he had never felt so powerless. Now that the enemy has appeared again, how can he endure defeat again? At this moment, the pacifist finally spotted Drake, and then he rushed towards Drake. Something seems wrong. Rubber bazooka. Levi said with a smile that he had already felt that Aokiji and Akainu had also landed on the island. The two of them were different from the lazy Kizaru. If no one stopped them, they would cause horrific casualties to the entire pirates. Mito stream. When Drake bit the big bear, a golden light appeared in his mouth, and Drake was knocked away. Isn't this Drake Rear Admiral? Kizaru wandered over. The bear looked at Luffy and others with an indifferent expression, then he opened his hand and pointed it at Luffy, and a dazzling golden light was fired towards Luffy and others. There was a terrifying roar, and Drake's figure instantly transformed into a huge dinosaur. His two giant claws grabbed the bear's hands, and then he bit the bear's head. You are not weak, Drake, but have you ever experienced the feeling of being kicked by light? A light appeared on the tip of Kizaru's toe, and then Drake's whole body was kicked and hit the mangrove tree. For a moment, the leaves were flying around. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 196. Frozen Time Capsule. Every pirate was frozen into an ice sculpture wherever Aokiji walked. Behind him, a large army of marine followed him. Marine Admiral. Kid was shocked. He didn't expect that he would face Marine Admiral directly. He couldn't help but get excited. This was a rare opportunity. An evil smile appeared on the corner of Kid's mouth. He took out a coin and pointed it at Aokiji. Then the purple light in his hand flashed, and the coin was also surrounded by purple light. It looked very powerful. Call out. The coin turned into a white light and flew towards Aokiji quickly, penetrating his chest in an instant. The two-story building behind Aokiji was reduced to ashes. The white light continued unabated and turned into a shooting star on the horizon. As the coin flew away, the sound of the coin breaking through the air was heard. Kid's coin had exceeded the speed of sound. What an amazing move, little brother. Aokiji looked down at the transparent hole in his chest. Kid's blow just now exceeded his reaction speed. Lines of ice condensed on Aokiji's chest. Soon the hole was occupied by ice. When the ice dissipated by that time, Aokiji's chest had returned to its original state, and even his clothes had returned to normal. Logia's demon fruit power, it's really hard to deal with. Kid's brows furrowed. The attack just now was his fastest move, but unexpectedly it couldn't cause any damage to Aokiji. Try this move, Aokiji. Kid opened his hands and laughed. The moment he opened his hands, several pacifists behind him opened their mouths. Golden light waves condensed in their mouths, and then the golden light waves moved towards Aokiji left. Everyone spread out. Aokiji said to the marine behind him. As soon as he finished speaking, the marines all ran away. When the light wave was about to hit Aokiji, Aokiji's figure disappeared into thin air. I'm just an ordinary blind man. My name is Yuxiao. I'm just a nobody. You've never heard of me, Yuxiao said modestly. Aokiji used his ultimate move on Yuxiao. He stepped on Yuxiao's foot lightly, and several stone slabs flew up under his feet. Yuxiao flew up on the stone slabs. The rotating scythe cut towards Aokiji's body. The moment his scythe touched Aokiji's body, he was also turned into a ball of ice sculpture. Boom! Ice Age. Freeze moment. Captain Kid. Okay, be careful, Mr. Yuxiao. Yuxiao, it's useless to say more. If you can repel Marine, then the Sabayati archipelago can be saved. Aokiji blocked Yuxiao's words directly. Please give me flowers. A purple light wave circulated on Yuxiao's knife, and then Aokiji was forced out by him. The scythe in Kira's hand was already turning in his hand so much that the afterimage could not be seen clearly. When the pirates were stunned with fear, Kira's figure rushed towards Aokiji. Is the law correct? Correct laws should be implemented, but why should such wrong laws be implemented? You are Admiral, why do you still point to such wrong laws? Yuxiao advised. Yuxiao's momentum suddenly burst out, and then he raised his staff knife to his chest, and a purple light wave emitted. Aokiji suddenly felt that his body became heavier, and cracks began to appear on Kid and Kira's ice sculptures. After that, Kid and Kira broke free from the ice and escaped. After all, strength speaks for itself, Yuxiao sighed. He is not a person who likes to take action, but in this world, fists always have to speak. Are you also a pirate? Aokiji felt that the aura of the blind man in front of him was unfathomable. It seemed that this guy should be very strong. He didn't want to fight such a troublesome person. Kid, you go to support other directions, leave this to me, Yuxiao shouted to Kid in the air. Now Kid can no longer intervene. This is the Admiral level battle history. The pirates all looked at the frozen Kid solemnly. When Kid fought against the pacifists, they all regarded Kid as a god, but such a powerful Kid was actually captured in one move by Marine Admiral. Aokiji's ice blade pressed towards Yuxiao, and streaks of ice spread towards Yuxiao's body. He wrestled with Yuxiao and found that his armament haki had no advantage at all against Yuxiao. As expected of Marine Admiral, really. Seeing the ice spreading over, the pirates were frightened and backed away, but the ice and snow spread too fast. All the pirates were still running, and they were already frozen in place. Who are you? Aokiji asked. Is this the devil fruit that controls gravity? Aokiji frowned. Afterwards, an ice blade formed in his hand to block the staff knife that smiled. Gravity Knife Tiger. What a tricky ability. Aokiji frowned. You should know that if celestial dragons were killed on this island must be buried with celestial dragons. This is the decree of the world government. After that, Aokiji felt a lightness in his body, and his body instantly approached like a smile. The light wave hit the ground with a loud noise, and then a large charred pit appeared on the entire ground, with traces of melting already appearing on the edge of the entire pit. When Kid was looking for traces of Aokiji, Aokiji's voice appeared behind him. Kid felt a chill, and countless metals gathered on his hands. When Kid was about to turn around and fight back, a ray of ice came from under his feet. Condensed, Kid turned into an ice sculpture in an instant. Behind Aokiji, a gentle voice suddenly came. Aokiji looked back, and a blind man with a cane suddenly appeared behind him. His observation haki did not sense it at all. A streak of pure white ice spreads towards Yuxiao under Aokiji's feet. It's not important, I just can't bear to see Sabayati archipelago destroyed by Buster Call like this. I just came here to ask you to withdraw your troops. Yuxiao smiled at Aokiji. Kid carried Kira into the sky, and behind him, the figures of Yuxiao and Aokiji were still fighting fiercely. Is this the strength of Admiral? Kid looked at the ice and snow world around him in horror. When the ice and snow spread, he used the ability of magnetic fruit to step on an iron plate and fly up. Now except for the two brothers, the other pirates were all wiped out by Aokiji with one move. Run away. Pirates, check in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 197. I didn't expect that Sabayati Archipelago still has such a master. Akainu looked at Sabayati Archipelago from a distance. When Aokiji fought with Yuxiao, he had already felt it. He originally thought that only Rayleigh was the strongest person on the island, but he never expected that a little-known blind man could have the strength of Admiral. There was a hint of haze in Akainu's heart. According to his plan, he was preparing for the three admirals to come together and eliminate all the pirates in a short time. The three admirals are the strongest combat power of the Marines. Each of them has a heavy responsibility. Aokiji is now guarding Mariejois. Now that Aokiji has left Mariejois, if there is another pirate like Tiger, the probability of Mariejois being breached is as high as 80%. Kizaru is currently guarding the Grand Line. Because of his unparalleled maneuverability, he can continuously provide 167 reinforcements to the entire 7 routes. Now that he has left, the entire Marine branch is in an undefended state. As long as there is a bounty, hundreds of millions of pirates are active, so all the soldiers in the Marine branch are in danger. We must fight quickly. Thinking of this, Akainu flew towards the Sabayati Archipelago. Now that Capone Beeg is holding the celestial dragons hostage, Akainu can't do it directly. In that case, Marine cannot bear the wrath of the world government. Levi felt Akainu's actions, and he also stood up from his chair. Akainu is the strongest among the 3 Marine admirals, and only he can handle Akainu. Boss Levi. Levi's figure suddenly appeared in the position where Hawkins and APU were guarding. Now Akainu was flying in their direction. According to Akainu's character, I am afraid that the two of them would be beaten to death by Akainu as soon as they met. You all go support Lugo and the Straw Hat crew, leave this to me, Levi said with a smile. After Hawkins and APU heard Levi's words, he led the pirates away. They all knew Levi's strength. As long as he didn't want people to come over, no Marine could board the island. Levi, why are you on this island? Akainu's expression changed drastically. He and Levi fought against each other. Although it was only more than 10 years ago, Levi was just a teenager at that time. I am afraid that Levi's strength now is unimaginable. Now things are in trouble. Now Aokiji has been entangled by the blind man, he is entangled by Levi, and there is another Rayleigh on the island who has not taken action. The top combat power of the pirates is no less than that of the Marines. Coupled with those pirate supernovas, the pirates' strength can already compete with the Marines. This was not a good signal. Akainu frowned and took out his phone. Marshal Sengoku, the big pirate Levi is also on this island now. Now the situation has changed. He must tell Sengoku about this. Now whether it is a war or a peace, it all depends on Sengoku's decision. Levi watched Akainu make the phone call quietly. He didn't stop Akainu. If Marine could retreat now, he would avoid a fight. Although he was stronger than Akainu, if Akainu wanted to escape, he couldn't stop him. There is no need to fight in a battle that cannot kill the enemy. Levi, I want to see how much stronger you are. Akainu hid the phone bug, and then his body lit up. This was a sign that his lava fruit was fully stimulated. When his body lit up, Levi felt that the temperature of the surrounding air was already high. Several times. Great eruption. Akainu's fist hit Levi. The moment he swung out his fist, a stream of red magma rushed toward Levi in a fan shape. His move was extremely powerful. When he swung out his fist, Levi's eyes, there is lava everywhere it touches, and it seems that Zongguo's strength has also greatly improved in recent years. Interesting. Levi laughed, and then the lightning flashed on his fist. Levi punched out, and the thunder and magma in the sky began to collide. Looking from a distance, this scene was extremely astonishing. Purple thunder and red magma occupied the entire horizon. Opposite them, white ice also covered the entire island, and burning meteorites continued to appear in the sky. Falling down, the momentum was extremely astonishing. Now Lugo and the others are heading in the direction of Luffy and others. Wind Cannon. Katsuho, Sakura Fubuki. By Ge San-ding. The people of the Straw Hat Pirates are constantly fighting with Marine, because Aokiji and Akainu started fighting, and Marines from both directions are coming in the direction of Luffy and others, because the bounty of Luffy and others is on the 11th ranked low among the supernovas. Not many pirates are willing to join them, so the pressure on them is increasing. Damn, there are more and more Marines, Luffy complained after defeating the wave of Marines in front of him. I really want to fight over there, Luffy sighed as he looked at the scene with frequent strange phenomena in the distance. Now that Marine's new charge has been repulsed, Luffy and others have a brief moment of rest. They have never experienced this kind of battle. In the past, they all fought guerrilla warfare with Marine. Boom! A huge figure fell in front of Luffy and others, and gravel even shot into the faces of Luffy and others. Damn it, who are you? Luffy angrily asked the fat man in front of him, covering the big bump on his forehead that was hit by stones. The man wore a red belly band and carried a big axe on his shoulders. His round body looked particularly strong. Jean Momomaru, the captain of the scientific force of Naval Headquarters and the bodyguard of Dr. Vegapunk. After he was defeated by Lugo, he took the pacifists away from Lugo and Kid. Wow, why are there so many Shishibukai? Chopper's eyes almost bulged out of their sockets. Behind Jean Momomaru, there were several figures lined up like the big bear they defeated. I am Jean Momoan, the most tight-lipped man in the world. The pacifists behind me are all secret. I will not tell you any news. Jean Momoan faced them with a stern look on his face said. Only then did everyone realize that these pacifists were not big bears, they were robots developed by Marine. The mouths of the pacifists behind Jean Daomaru have been opened, and dazzling golden laser light waves appeared in their mouths. Luffy and others felt bitter in their hearts. They had already experienced the power of the pacifists just now, and now a row of pacifists were standing here. They knew that they could never defeat them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 198. Get out of the way. Luffy and others watched the light waves of the pacifists in front of them getting brighter and brighter. They all shouted loudly, and then they fled in all directions. Boom! There was a violent noise, and the place where Luffy and others were was filled with smoke and dust. Damn it, we're surrounded. Luffy and others looked very anxious at this moment. Marine's strength is too strong now, and they can't handle it anymore. Around them, Lugo and others also encountered trouble. The Marine Vice Admirals had already targeted them. Several people and the Marine Vice Admirals began to fight with the supernovas. There were battles everywhere in the Sabayati archipelago. The battle is really fierce, Rayleigh sighed. Now Rayleigh is in Shucky's bar. Behind them, the child's body is covered with bandages. Cammy and the starfish are still beside him. It's all my fault. If I didn't run around, I wouldn't have been sold to the auction house. If I hadn't been caught in the auction house, then everyone wouldn't have to save me, and Marine wouldn't have been attracted. Cammy cried because the pear blossom brought 15 rains. It has nothing to do with you. According to my guess, this thing was caused by that little guy Levi. Shucky squinted his eyes and laughed. Rayleigh also felt strange. How could anyone dare to kill celestial dragons? But now he understood that there was nothing in this world that Levi did not dare to do. No, Kizaru went to Luffy. I'll go out later, otherwise Luffy and others will be in danger, Rayleigh said to Shucky and others, and then he walked out of the bar. "Kizaru, he is Marine Admiral Kizaru," Robin shouted. A golden light flashed, and in front of them, a wretched middle-aged man wearing a yellow suit. Robin recognized Kizaru and she immediately screamed. "Really, Mr. Kizaru, why are you here so late?" Jean Momomaru complained to Kizaru. According to the original plan, Jean Momomaru's pacifists acted together with Kizaru. Because Kizaru got lost on the way, he lost Kizaru's protection. Several of the pacifists were destroyed by Ludo and Kid. Jean Momomaru had a hunch, "I'm afraid. This time he will write a review when he goes back." 8-foot mirror. A golden circle Madara appeared in front of Kizaru, and then a dazzling golden light beam shot towards Luffy and others. When he came to Luffy and others, he didn't talk nonsense at all, and directly killed Luffy and others. Kizaru's attack was so fast that Luffy and others were hit by Kizaru's light before they could see Kizaru's attack clearly. These lights were extremely fast and powerful. Luffy and others felt that they had been hit by Sea Kings. Usually, their blood spurts out in an instant. They were seriously injured by Kizaru's blow. "Have you ever felt what it feels like to be kicked by light?" Kizaru asked with a smile. Then his feet became shimmering with golden light. As expected of Mr. Kizaru. Jean Momomaru watched all this excitedly. When Kizaru's footsteps fell, it would be the end of the Straw Hat Pirate's fate. At this moment, a figure rushed over, and a foot wearing slippers kicked Kizaru's foot together. "Really, I didn't expect it to be you. I've heard that you live in seclusion on this island." "I didn't expect it to be true." Kizaru looked at Rayleigh and smiled. "Their journey has just begun, we can't let you end them," Rayleigh laughed, and the strong wind from their fight blew Rayleigh's white hair around. "Raida looks handsome and confused." Tian Kongyun's sword. Kizaru rubbed his hands together, and then a long sword made entirely of light appeared in Kizaru's hand. Kizaru's lightsaber slashed towards Rayleigh, and at the moment when their swords clashed, everyone was blinded by the strong wind. "Thank you, Uncle." Luffy and others took the opportunity to disperse and escape. "Pacifists, chase them quickly, don't let them escape." Seeing this, Jean Momomaru hurriedly ordered to chase after Straw Hat and others. Usopp's slingshot opened, and then he fired a bullet that landed at Jean Doan's feet. A white smoke bomb exploded at his feet, and Jean Doan's sight was obscured. "Well done, Usopp." Sanji praised Usopp, and at the same time, their pace became faster. "Straw Hat, you can't escape. You are the weakest supernova I have ever seen, far worse than Trafalgar Law." Jean Momomaru jumped directly in front of Luffy. The moment Jean Doan said these words, Luffy became completely angry, his eyes were full of anger, and his fists hit Jean Doan's body like raindrops. Facing Luffy's attack, Jean Momomaru did not dodge. He swung his palm at Luffy, and Luffy was instantly knocked away by him. Afterwards, Jean Tumaru stepped on the air and continued to chase Luffy. Before Luffy even landed, he punched Luffy again. Walking alone, Jean Doan stepped on the air and beat Luffy continuously. Although Jean Doan was fat, his speed was not slow at all. It hurt so much. This guy's moves are so weird. Luffy's body is made of rubber, and he has extraordinary resistance to ordinary blunt blows, but in 563, under Jean Momomaru's fist, Luffy felt very painful. Although it was not as good as his grandfather's fist, it still hurt. At this moment, other pacifists also chased after them. As several light waves came out of their mouths, Brook's sword went towards the pacifist's mouth. The pacifist's head tilted slightly, and his entire body was hit by light waves, and he was instantly knocked out, with all the bones in his body cracked. "Brook!" Chopper yelled, then he ran after Brook. Three-sword style, gorgeous and devilish night sleepless ghost slaying. The light waves of other pacifists came towards Chopper, but were chopped into pieces by Zoro's three-sword style. At the same time, Zoro's body was also scarred by the laser, and he had lost his combat effectiveness. "Zoro," Luffy yelled shrilly. "Do you still care about others at this time?" Gendarmerie sneered, and then his huge body jumped up high, and then his axe slashed hard at Luffy and others. Room. At this moment, with Lugo's soft drink, Luffy and others disappeared in front of Gendarmerie. Lugo used his ability to move Luffy and others away. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 199. We escaped. Luffy's face was full of disbelief. He looked back and saw that they had now left the battlefield. Lugo and Jean Momomaru were fighting together. The moment Luffy turned back, he saw an unforgettable scene. With the flick of Lugo's ghost cry, several pacifists were split into two in an instant under Lugo's knife. So strong. Chopper exclaimed that Lugo had managed the Drum Kingdom for a period of time, so Chopper was no stranger to Lugo. In his impression, Lugo was a very amiable person. This was the first time he had seen such a tyrannical side of Lugo. In front of him, the originally indestructible pacifist was chopped into several pieces by Lugo in an instant. In front of him, even the vicious Genmaru turned into a younger brother. Run away. Luffy took a deep look at Lugo, and he knew that one day he would reach this level. We are safe. Luffy and others kept breathing heavily in front of the sunshine. After a series of battles, they all felt exhausted. This was the first time they had experienced a battle of this scale. Although they were very tired, but still feeling very happy. At this moment, a figure silently approached Luffy and others. Frankie was still looking up and laughing, but when he saw this figure, his expression suddenly changed wildly. "Hey, Luffy, there are pacifists." Frankie's finger pointed directly at the figure. This guy had an extra Bible in his hand than the pacifist they met. "This is not a pacifist, this guy is a real Shishibukai bear." Zoro's expression changed wildly. He could feel that the guy in front of him was much stronger than those pacifists. "What?" Chopper suddenly became furious. The bear's power had left an indelible impression on his heart. "Zoro, if you want to travel, where do you want to go?" The bear took off his gloves and came directly to Zoro. Mito stream. Cold sweat covered Zoro's forehead, but according to his temperament, it was impossible to admit defeat. Although he didn't know why the bear let them go last time, he would never put his fate on the kindness of his enemy. Zoro has gone through several battles, and his physical strength has long been exhausted. Before he has finished shouting his moves, the bear's big hand has already pressed down directly on Zoro's head. By the time the bear's hand touched Zoro's body, Zoro's figure had disappeared into thin air. "Zoro," Luffy shouted tentatively around him. "Zoro," others shouted. "Zoro is missing." Luffy was completely shocked. Zoro had been with him for such a long time, and when he suddenly lost Zoro's figure, he felt his heart panic. "Hey, what did you do to Zoro?" Usopp asked the bear. The slingshot in his hand was now aimed at the bear. After Usopp fired the bullet from his slingshot, the bear's figure suddenly came behind Usopp. After the bear waved his hand, Usopp's figure also disappeared. "Ah! Usopp!" After seeing Usopp disappear, Chopper completely went berserk and turned into a 10-meter tall monster. Chopper actually became the strongest state without the help of the blue wave ball. At this moment, Chopper was completely irrational. He howled angrily, and then clawed at the body of a bear with his big hands. "No, Chopper!" Luffy let out a heartbreaking cry. He knew that Chopper was no match for Usopp, but now that Chopper had lost his mind, he would never stop. After the bear and Chopper slapped each other, Chopper's huge body was instantly slapped away without a trace. Beich sanding. The long sword in Brook's hand stabbed the bear's eye, but just when his sword was about to hit the bear's eye, the bear's palm slapped Brook's body, and then Brook disappeared. It seems that Shishibukai Bartholomew Kuma has received orders from Marshal Sengoku. You can't save them after all, really, Kizaru laughed after feeling the breath of the Straw Hat crew disappear. Rayleigh's heart sank. Now that he was in a state of physical decline, he could only barely resist Kizaru's attack. If he was asked to save Luffy again, he would really be powerless. Luffy, you can only rely on yourself for everything, Rayleigh sighed secretly in his heart, and then he started fighting Kizaru wholeheartedly again. Amidst Luffy's heartbreaking screams, his friends disappeared one by one. At this moment, Luffy was like a wounded lion. Stop it! An inexplicable aura emerged from Luffy's body. As this aura spread, the marine soldiers who were about to surround him were all dizzy. Luffy's whole body turned red, and streams of white steam emerged from his body. This is Luffy's strongest move. Just when Luffy's fist is about to hit the bear disappears in front of Luffy's eyes. Farewell, Luffy. There was an indescribable tenderness in the bear's voice, which was extremely incompatible with his mighty body. With the fall of the bear's palm, the last soap bubble of the Sabayati archipelago burst. At this moment, the order to retreat came from the marine warship, and the marines in the Sabayati archipelago began to slowly withdraw their troops. Mr. Rayleigh, let's stop here. Kizaru smiled at Rayleigh, and then his whole body turned into a ball of light and disappeared. Okay. Mr. Uxiao, I didn't expect that there is a strong person like you in this world. You have such strength, why don't you join Marine to do something more beneficial to the people? Aokiji heard the order to withdraw, and he knew that this was the Marine upper class changing their minds. The blind man in front of him had won Aokiji's respect with his strength. Uxiao's observation haki is the strongest person Aokiji has ever seen in his life. His observation haki can even sense meteorites in the sky, and can even pull down meteorites from the sky. The big craters on the island now are the masterpieces of Uxiao. Okay, I understand. Uxiao smiled gently at Aokiji. Levi, stop, you won. Crane Vice Admiral appeared on the battlefield, and it was she who gave the order this time. Crane Vice Admiral, why is this? Akainu's tone was very dissatisfied. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 200. Now the strength of the top pirates is no less than ours. In order to ensure the rule of our marine, your combat power cannot be wasted at all unnecessary. Moreover, the celestial dragons have also agreed. As long as the living celestial dragons are released, they will not then execute the buster call on Sabayati archipelago. Crane Vice Admiral seemed to be talking to Akainu, but Levi felt that Crane Vice Admiral's words were more talking to him. Levi, you release those two celestial dragons. We will no longer execute the buster call and withdraw our troops immediately. What do you think? Crane Vice Admiral said to Levi. Crane Vice Admiral, you are the one who started the war. If you say you won't fight, you won't fight. Isn't it a bit childish? Levi asked with a smile. Yes, we will never agree. As soon as Levi's voice fell, the pirates behind him began to shout. Seeing Marine deflated, each of them felt very happy. Levi, stop this meaningless war. Both of us have suffered enough casualties. Even if all the Marines and pirates present are killed, what's the point? Crane Vice Admiral said in a deep voice. Said to Levi. What's more, I don't believe that the death of celestial dragons has nothing to do with you. Levi. Crane Vice Admiral gave Levi a deep look. On this island, this guy is the only one who has the courage. Levi looked back at the 240 pirates. Now all the surviving pirates are injured, even the supernovas are scarred. As for Marine, all the vice admirals are not much better, and even several vice admirals fell. Okay, I agree to your terms, Levi said to Crane Vice Admiral. After that, nearly 1,000 warships slowly evacuated the Sabayati archipelago. The Sabayati archipelago was saved with the efforts of the pirates, and all the pirates began to cheer. Crane Vice Admiral, the situation is now favorable to us, why should we withdraw our troops? Akainu asked rather dissatisfiedly as he listened to the cheers of the Sabayati archipelago pirates in the distance. The situation just now is that Marine has the advantage. The three admirals have entangled Levi, Uxiao, and Rayleigh, the three top combat powers, and the rising pirate stars have been blocked by the vice admirals. The pacifists are in an invincible state. Yes, Akainu believes that as long as he is given 3 more days, he will definitely be able to kill all the pirates in Sabayati archipelago. Akainu, don't forget our next plan. That plan is the top priority. We can't waste too much energy here, otherwise our next plan may fail. Crane Vice Admiral looked at him seriously. Akainu. Are you talking about Ace? Akainu didn't speak anymore. He just stood side by side with Crane Vice Admiral. The next day, a piece of news spread in the newspapers and shocked the whole world. Under the leadership of the great pirate Levi, the new pirate stars of Sabayati archipelago started a showdown with 3 admirals and nearly 100,000 marines in Sabayati archipelago. After 2 days of fighting, there was no winner in the end. As soon as this news came out, the whole world was shocked. After this battle, the bounty of each of these supernovas has made a qualitative leap. Even the bounty of Luffy, who was beaten by a bear, has also increased. The next day, the pirates who had experienced a night of carnival also embarked on their own journeys again. Everyone had their own adventure. After experiencing a short period of joy, each pirate group set sail again. This is a pirate, Levi sighed as she stood on Nine Snakes' big ship. During their battle, Hancock had already received the news, so she led all the Nine Snakes warriors towards the Sabayati archipelago. Let's go back to Hancock. Levi looked at the delicate man next to him and laughed. Now that the big battle is over, the next step is to train the newcomers. Are they all here, Hancock? Levi asked. Now that Bartolomeo and Kuina have arrived, Van Oka said that he has his own experience. Hancock said to BFDF, Levi. As the Nine Snakes ship gradually left, the Battle of Sabayati archipelago came to a complete end. Sister, a strange species fell off our island. It seems to be a man. As soon as Levi and others landed, a female warrior rushed over and reported to Hancock. What, didn't I tell you that except Master Levi, no other male creatures can appear on this island? Hancock frowned, and an invisible majesty radiated from her body. Now Hancock, there is a majesty belonging to the emperor. Sister, that man fell from the sky, the female warrior stammered. Although she also felt it was unbelievable, this was the reality. That's where he fell. The female warrior pointed to the big hole in the ground and said to Levi and Hancock. This large pit is half a meter deep. From a distance, it looks like an enlarged bear paw. Levi immediately knew who fell here. You terrible women, let me go. A loud roar came from a distance, and Levi recognized it as Luffy's voice. Uncle, why are you here? Luffy asked in surprise. When Luffy was shot away, he realized that he was flying in the air without his control. Only then did he understand that Zoro and others were not beaten to death. They, like him, had no idea they were shot away by a bear. Where did it go? After Luffy flew for 3 days, he finally landed on this strange island. Now Luffy was wearing lace clothes and looked very cute. Behind him, a group of female warriors with small notebooks chased out. Sister. When they saw Hancock in front, they all hurriedly put away their notebooks and said hello to Hancock. In front of Hancock, these female warriors behaved as if they were kittens. Saved, Luffy breathed a long sigh of relief. In the past few days, he has been watched like a monkey by these women, and these female warriors are extremely studious. They hold small notebooks, and they will record every move Luffy makes. Uncle, please take me away from this place quickly. This place is really terrible. Luffy pulled Levi's sleeve tightly and begged. He was almost going crazy from the torture. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 201. Master Levi. A short-haired beauty in a white skirt ran out from behind the female warriors. She screamed excitedly when she saw Levi. Kuina, long time no see. Levi laughed. When he left Shimatsuki village, Kuina was just a little ghost. She had just begun to develop. Levi demonstrated the existence of sword intention for her. This was in Kuina's mind. It left an indelible mark on my heart. Because the battle between Levi and Koshiro destroyed the entire second floor of the Kendo dojo, Kuina also avoided the fate of being thrown to death. After she became an adult and went to sea, she joined the Eric Guild. After half a year of struggle, she became Meet the famous pirate hunter from East Blue. Eric also increased his efforts to train Kuina. He not only taught Kuina how to use haki, but also spent a lot of money to send Kuina to Wanakuni for further training. Now Kuina is already a very famous swordsman. Absalom, I want to trouble you with something. Levi looked at him and said solemnly. After seeing Levi, Bartolomeo's eyes filled with tears, and he knelt down 50 meters and hugged Levi's thigh. The Grande Solo is the world's largest entertainment city, where rich people from all over the world gather, and they endlessly enjoy various entertainment performances. Don't worry, sir, I will definitely complete the task. This pervert slapped his chest until it made a clanging sound. Baby 5 assured Levi loudly. Moria, lend me Absalom. Levi got through Moria's phone bug. Absalom is a paramecia transparent fruit user. When he comes into contact with others, he can make all the objects he comes into contact with transparent. I want you to go impel down and save someone, Levi said to him. Are you telling the truth, Master Levi? Absalom's saliva flowed into a river, and his originally panicky mood suddenly became ambitious. How to rescue him? Levi also had a headache. He couldn't make a big fuss about impel down again, right? What, impel down? Absalom was immediately furious. Impel down is known as an iron wall. In the entire history of Impel Down, only the great pirate Golden Lion escaped on his own strength. Except for the other pirates, except for Dibang World and Bullet, who escaped during the chaos when Levi was rescuing Tom, not 10 other pirates escaped. Moria readily agreed to Levi's request. Within a few days, Absalom came to report to Levi. It was obvious that he was very afraid of Levi. I will not let you do this in vain. After this is completed, the Grande Solo will be free for you for life, Levi said to Absalom. Levi will not use him in vain. Okay, stop making trouble and start training, Levi said to Bartolomeo. Come together if you want. Okay, you stay here for a few days, and I will let you know when the time is right, Levi said to Absalom. Don't worry, Absalom, I just let you sneak in quietly, and I will find helpers for you. You don't have to fight. If you are also caught, I promise you, I will go to the Grand Line to rescue you, Levi faced Absalom said. Levi saw with his own eyes that Marine's warship took Ace away. According to the development of the plot, Naval Headquarters should soon issue a summons order to Shichibukai, and Marine Vice Admiral Weasel should soon come to invite Hancock. This is Levi's opportunity. Levi Senpai. A person suddenly appeared in Levi's mind, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Training? Then can I join you? When Luffy heard that Levi was going to train Kuina, he hurriedly offered to join. After the battle at Sabayati Archipelago, Luffy discovered that although his bounty was not the lowest, his strength was the bottom one. Some people say that there are beauties of all races from all over the world on the Grande Solo. Absalom yearns for this place, but it is too expensive. Absalom has only been there once. Now after hearing Levi's promise, Absalom became ecstatic. Sir, please speak, Absalom said to Levi in a submissive manner. There was nothing he could do. When he came, Moria had told him that no matter what Levi asked him to do, he must do it. Please give me flowers, 0. After Levi finished speaking, he walked towards the back of the island. This island is where Amazon warriors are located. It is not the best training place. The training place Levi chose this time is the island where he trained. Is this true? Absalom drooled. We heard that Mr. Levi wanted to train us, so we came over from East Blue non-stop. Kuana's little face turned red and she was obviously very excited. The island was full of beasts, and when he was bored, he took in a few beasts and taught them some hacky practices. After so many years, these beasts have become dominant on the island, and even the beasts above the sea kings are no match for them either. After that, during the following period, Luffy, Kuana, and Bartolomeo started intense training here. Luffy has also heard of Kuana's name, but when Luffy went to sea, Kuana had already gone to Wanakuni, so Luffy had not seen her. Since you said so, then I'll give it a try, Absalom gritted his teeth and said. Let me handle it. Now you, Judge and Guy, hurry up and break up the pacifists. A new war will start soon. At this time, we need the power of pacifists, Levi said to the phone bug. Baby 5 said. When fighting against Jean Momomaru, Jean Momoa's words deeply hurt Luffy's self-esteem. Trafalgar Law and others could easily deal with the pacifists, but Luffy and others had to fight with the entire pirate group. Solving a pacifist, the gap is really too big. Mr. Levi, what should we do? Baby 5 asked anxiously. What, did that idiot Breed get impelled down after being caught by Marine? Levi exclaimed. He received a call from Baby 5, and Breed got the 2 powerful fire-breathing dragons and poisonous slimes. After the pet, he became a little bloated, and now he was finally caught. Master Levi, make sure to complete the mission. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 202. As expected by Levi, less than 3 days after arriving at Absalom, Marine's warship also arrived at 9 Snake Island. This time, the leader was the Mole Vice Admiral, who came with Sengoku's summons order. Hancock had already received Levi's instructions. When the Marine ship arrived here, Hancock told Levi about the matter, and then she went to the shore to meet the Mole Vice Admiral. Pirate Empress Boa Hancock, I am Marine Vice Admiral Mole, let's go to Naval Headquarters now. Mole was indifferent to Hancock's beauty, his tone was full of seriousness. I refuse. Boa Hancock raised his neck high, looking like a proud swan. This forced summoning of Shishibukai is an order signed by the 5 elders themselves. If you refuse the summons, this 530 means that you have given up the title of Shishibukai. Are you sure you want to do this? Hancock slowly walked out, and now that the Marine soldiers saw Hancock's beautiful face, except Vice Admiral the Mole, the other Marine soldiers all looked at him with tears in their eyes. Is this the most beautiful woman in the world? She is so beautiful. What does this have to do with me? Luffy said in confusion. Then he saw Bartolomeo eating an extra piece of meat. He immediately became anxious and hurriedly joined the ranks of grabbing the meat. Mole's hand quietly grasped the handle of the knife, and veins popped out on his hand. It was obvious that he was about to take action, but the Marine soldiers behind him still looked crazy. I see, are you using tumor sensation to divert your attention? Hancock understood immediately. Naive, impel down. Director Magellan has the strength of an admiral. How are you going to save Ace? Levi shouted at Luffy. How are you going to save Ace? Levi asked. Have you finally shown up, Boa Hancock? The weasel's face was full of seriousness. It's really embarrassing to be led around by the nose. Mole helplessly covered his face. His subordinates were really embarrassed. All Marines are led by their noses. Soldiers, you are all the elites of the Marine Corps. Show your momentum and don't let the pirates look down upon you. Mole shouted sharply at the Marine soldiers. Now, please tell me your choice, Boa Hancock, Mole's eyes were full of seriousness. The cause of this incident is because Fire Fist Ace, the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, was caught by Marine and will be executed next week, Levi said lightly. Moreover, he met Ace in the Drum Kingdom some time ago. At that time, Ace and Luffy also talked. Ace told him that he was hunting down the traitor. How long ago? Ace was actually caught impelled down. What a glorious beauty this is. Luffy suddenly jumped up, and then he was ready to rush out. We are here to protect you. If you want to take away the title of Empress, then ask us first. Marines rolled up their sleeves and said indignantly. Their blood was already boiling with excitement from Hancock. Hancock made a heart shape with his hands, and then a series of pink light waves shot towards Marine's warship. The Marine soldiers were petrified in an instant, leaving only the Mole who had not been hit. But I like the title of Shishibukai very much, but I don't want to take orders from others, so what should I do? Hankushu said to the Mole with a pitiful look. Yes, Vice Admiral Mole. The Marine soldiers stood at attention and their eyes narrowed. Bartolomeo, the name of Fire Fist Ace, has also been heard before. At that time, he was still a gangster in Logue Town. Fire Fist Ace is the most outstanding pirate in East Blue, but after he joined the Whitebeard Pirates, he reduced the signs of activity on this sea. You're going to start a war with Marine, aren't you? Weasel stared at Hancock calmly. Although his strength was not as good as Hancock's, he was not afraid at all. Ace? Is Ace going to be executed? Luffy finally reacted. He still had a mouthful of meat in his mouth. When he heard the news that Ace was being executed, he was immediately struck by this. I'm going to save Ace. Mole Vice Admiral, your arrival is too sudden. Now I am going to pack some things and will be back soon. After Hancock said this, she walked towards Nine Snake Island again. Luffy, Naval Headquarters is going to war with the Whitebeard Pirates, Levi said to Luffy. I'm going to break the impel down and rescue Ace, Luffy shouted excitedly. Damn, I'm really too weak, Luffy hammered the ground with excitement. Although he knew Ace was caught, he was too weak and couldn't do anything. Has my charm decreased? Seeing that the Mole was not petrified, Hancock couldn't help but doubt his own charm, but when he saw the dagger inserted into the thigh by the Mole, she laughed. Ace is my brother, Luffy said softly. He still hasn't reacted to the news that Ace was arrested. Ace is the most talented among the 3 brothers. Later, Luffy ate rubber. Fruit is still no match for a 5.9s. What does Ace's execution have to do with you? Bartolomeo saw that Luffy was stunned, so he quietly speeded up his eating of meat. Luffy ate very quickly and was an opponent who could fight him. Please don't deprive me of my Shishibukai. Hancock looked pitiful, which aroused the sailor's desire to protect him even more. Now the captain of Whitebeard's 2nd team, Fire Fist Ace, has been imprisoned in Impel Down, and he will be executed in a week. The execution place is at Naval Headquarters Marineford, so the Whitebeard Pirates will definitely attack Marineford within a week. Now Marine, headed by San Admiral, is ready to fight, and now you have only 2 choices, either to respond to the government's request, or to be deprived of the title of Shishibukai. Then Hancock lifted the petrification of the Marine soldiers. The Marine soldiers just felt that they fell into a brief dizziness. They had no idea what was happening. Marrow mellow. How is that possible? I'm giving Marines a warning. There are some things you shouldn't look at randomly. The Marines kept spouting nymphomaniacal words, which made Mole feel humiliated.